Devin Booker was on JJ Redick's podcast lately, and JJ Redick asked him, why does he talk so much trash? Let's get to it, man, because the conversation about Devin Booker's trash talking is so interesting to me. And just trash talking in general. But we'll get into it in this video, man.
Games, and like it's weird because like there is a different energy some nights for you. Is that purposeful? Can you control that?
No, you can't control it. It's just finding the new motivation for the day. You know what I'm saying? It's, it could be the smallest things. And, I've had this conversation with a lot of players, like, you know what it is going to be that day that might have you pissed off a bit or just on a whole different energy. Like, it's nothing that's planned, but, every game's not the same as much as people want to say. Like, you treat game 20 the same as a playoff game. Like, I try my best, but
you don't.
There's just something with the energy that, just brings you to that level.
The static energy, the static motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You're now 4-time All-Star, first team All-NBA, max contract, signature shoe, which we'll get to in a second. What's the static sort of motivation, the static energy that you bring on game 20 on a Wednesday night in Portland? Like what is like what is the drive? What is the drive? Because you've kind of done it, right?
Shit, money. Nah, I seen a clip lately. I forgot where it was. They were just being real about NBA players, and they were talking about how, like, yeah, a lot of y'all have romanticized every single NBA player to thinking they're competitive demons, when in reality, bro, the NBA for some people is literally just a job. I think it was a clip about DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, it was about DeAndre Ayton. Like, you can just tell, like, this is a clock in, clock out NBA player. And I don't think they should be crucified for that. Because at the end of the day, it might have been Gil's Arena. At the end of the day, this is a job. This is a career for people. You know what I'm saying? And while the people who care will be rewarded the most, the people who care, will be respected. There are just some players who they are athletically gifted, genetically, from the time they were born. I believe statistically speaking, once you reach 7 foot, the chances of you making to the NBA is just astronomically high, just because you're a 7-footer. But yeah, cat's out the bag, bro. There's a lot of money to be made in the NBA. And there's certain players where, hey, clock in, clock out. When I got to go to practice, what do I need to do out there on the court? Okay, I just need to be a corner sitter. Let me work on my corner three. Okay, I just need to be, a pick and roll big. Let me work on my pick and roll skills. My pick and pop skills, my screen setting. And let me make this $200 million throughout the course of my career and live happily, live life, and not have the expectations of big stars in the league. I would even argue that the ideal NBA career is those dudes who do not have superstar responsibilities, but have effectively superstar money. You know what I'm saying? I think someone made a TikTok lately about how much Patty Mills has earned within his career. Patty Mills, a respected role player who has played for championship teams, has made, I think, like $200 million over his career. You know what I'm saying? You don't got the pressure of a LeBron or even a Tim Duncan. You just chilling. You know what I'm saying? Let me play point guard for an NBA team. But
the reason I'm asking is because I'm really fascinated by great players who are great again, and then are great again. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh no, that motherfucker was great 4 years ago, and now he's better than he was 4 years ago. And you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys. You've consistently got better, even though you had greatness early.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we're getting our ass kicked early. Nobody cares about you when, you score 30 and lose. Like, nobody hated me then or disliked me then. Like that comes when you start winning games. Like,
good point.
I guess when you're some sort of a threat, I would word it as, but it's in music, it's in every industry. I just feel like early on, when you're out the way and
no one cares because no one
just
knows
doing
it.
your thing, people are cool with it. But, when you turn into a threat, I feel like that's when you start hearing about yourself.
That's a
There's like a narrative around that,
Mhm.
right? And we were talking earlier, and you said to me, you were like, people think I didn't talk shit till we started winning. And I just want to let the audience know that Devin Booker, as a rookie, was talking shit to me from day one. That's who you've
down
been.
20.
Down 20 in the Staples Center.
Yeah.
It's funny because CP, his first year here, when I talked to him, he's like, "Nah, Devin's a psycho," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, I saw that in 2015, 2016. I saw that right away."
Yeah, I'd say I don't know where that came from, where I just started doing it as of late, but I feel like, trash talking is a lifestyle. It's something that, the environments that I grew up in, we've been doing that since we say yay high. You know what I'm saying? Since I was this tall, like in everything we did, though, not just basketball. So,
let me just get off this tape right now. I think NBA fans do not one that. Shout out to KD because he said it, man. I swear to God, a lot of NBA fans just don't like basketball, and everything is just an agenda push nowadays. I seen a tweet talk about how KG, there's just no one who has this intensity right now, and it was just a bunch of KG. You know what I'm saying? For everyone who knows KG, you know how animated he gets. You know how passionate he gets about the game in the regular season. Someone made a good point. Boy, y'all was clowning Patrick Beverley for going on the stands and the Minnesota Timberwolves going crazy after winning a play-in game. When I believe that was their first playoff berth in a long time, or might have been their second or whatever. Y'all was clowning Pat Bev for doing that. You know what I'm saying? And it just made me think like, y'all want to romanticize the passion of a KG, the passion of a Kobe Bryant, and the passion that they have for the game. But I'm thinking about them in today's league. Y'all would not like them. You would think they're too cocky. You would think they talk too much trash, if anything. And y'all would think that they are corny for being passionate about the game. Even in the All-Star game now, there's this classification of if this player is a try-hard or not. Giannis is classified as an All-Star game try-hard. Damian Lillard classified as an All-Star game try-hard. Jaylen Brown classified as an All-Star game try-hard. These terms were not a thing when I was growing up watching the NBA. These terms were not a thing in the 90s and the 2000s, and I would love for y'all to correct me if I'm wrong. So, I say all of that to say, y'all say y'all would want these players, but I'm telling you right now, there would be a lot of hate. Y'all would think it would just be all love if these players played in today's league. There would be equal amount of hate. I'm telling you that right now. Kobe, again, y'all would view him as corny. Y'all would view him as a tryhard. Whatchamacallit. And y'all would view his leadership style as toxic. Toxic. Same thing with Jordan. Toxic. Y'all would not like their leadership style if Kobe truly was Kobe in today's league. And when it comes to trash talking, again, same thing, bro. Same thing. Y'all say y'all want trash talking, but when Devin Booker is talking when he's up, now he's talking when he's up. They like to talk trash when they up, as Luka would say. If he's trash talking when he's down, it's scoreboard. The fuck are you? Why are you trash talking? You're down. You're down, buddy. So at that point, okay, the only time to acceptably trash talk is when? In a close game? But then y'all would say, if it's in the regular season, boy talking trash in the regular season game. If they did it in the first round, it's just the first round. If they did it in the play-in tournament, it's just in the play-in tournament. If they did it in the in-season tournament, it's just an in-season tournament. So what time is it? The only time it's acceptable to trash talk is in a close game in the Eastern Conference Finals and up? Like, what are we doing, bruh? Let these players trash talk.
Around some creative, witty guys that, I've delivered some of the best lines ever in my dad's open gym. And, I've heard some great things in the NBA, but, there's an art to it.
There's obviously been some back and forth with you and Luka. And I had a conversation with RJ and Legler. I don't know if it was the end of last season or the beginning of this year, but we talked about how there are essentially no more rivalries in the NBA. And some of that, I think, is because there's more player movement. And so the same teams, we're not getting the Heat versus the Knicks 4 straight years in the playoffs. We're not getting the Bulls, Jazz. I mean, obviously we had the Cavs, Warriors, but right now there's so much parity and so much player movement. We're not seeing that as much.
Real rivalries in the league today. While they're on the topic, let me just bring up a list of teams. Real rivalries. I don't even think they hate each other, to be honest with you. It's just something that the fans make up, bro. Because Jason Tatum and Bam are really good friends. The Heat and the Celtics. I'd say Miami and Milwaukee. That's a real rivalry right there. Maybe not now though. Dame, the whole Dame Miami shit, that might spur some things up. In the West, Denver, LA. I think there's a lot of real trash talk going on over there. Denver and LA. Phoenix and Dallas, I do think that's a real one. Phoenix and New Orleans, I think that's a real one. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing a couple, man. But yeah, there's not a lot of real rivalries in today's league anymore, man.
Do you have any insight as to why you don't think there are as many player rivalries or team rivalries in the NBA today? And also, by the way, do you think it would be good for the NBA if there was more shit talking between certain players, more shit talking between certain teams?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, the environments I grew up in, that's how the game was played, and most of the guys that I idolize, did the same, and the guys that I still idolize do it. I'd say there's no real rivalries because, I say grassroots basketball. Like a lot of these guys we've known for a really long time, and I think people just realize that it's not that deep half the time. Like people always say, "Oh, they're not about to fight out on the court. They're not about to do that." Yeah, that's a $500,000 fight. Like, yeah, nobody should do that. But
you know what? I want the comment section's feedback on this as well, because I asked this on the pod. Do y'all think the reason why there's not as much rivalries and not as much trash talking in the NBA is because of the fact that money is so involved in the NBA now, compared to decades past? Because I have this theory that, the more money gets involved in things, the more diluted just the product gets, because everything is so money driven nowadays. So Devin Booker is talking about it right now. No one wants to waste $500,000 on a fight. It's $500,000. I understand I'm making $1 million, but the things I understand I'm making $10 million, but what I can do with $500,000 in my bank account instead of not having it there is still a lot. Even if you do take out taxes. I know a lot of y'all like to, but take out taxes, BSOLZ. Yes, take out taxes. $300K in your bank account, that's still a lot. You know what I'm saying? I think, some of the best content creators as well was when there wasn't a lot of money in this. When things weren't so algorithmic and people were making videos for the love of the game. That's when, in my opinion, the most passionate creators existed. Now that there's money in this shit, you really gotta find them gems in the rough. Especially starting off, you really got to find them gems in the rough. And in basketball, I think it's the same thing. I do think people are less risky. I do think the whole just come up from childhood to the NBA, like what Devin Booker is saying. You're just naturally friends with these dudes because of the AAU circuit, and the friends you make in the AAU circuit. You know what I'm saying? It isn't just, you were in your hometown, you played high school for your local basketball team, and then you go to college, and then you meet players within your college games. You go into the NBA, you get drafted by this one team, you stay with that one team for a relatively long time, and then every single other player in the league is just a rando to you, and your allegiance is with your NBA team. You know what I'm saying? Like that aspect, I just don't think is missing, or I think is missing in today's league. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I haven't heard it too many times where like crazy lines were crossed on the court, but it has happened, and I've seen people handle it behind the scenes, in the correct way, like men should. But it's usually not that deep.
To one of your teammates recently.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. But you never see that happen.
No.
And you can even do it in the tunnel now. Like when people meet me in the tunnel, you still get suspended. You know what I'm saying? So, like if somebody still feels that way out, and you guys run into each other at dinner, and whatever was said on the court was that deep, then it can be handled then. But it's usually not that big of a deal.
Do you think if you're...
Yeah, I think that whole mentality right there tells me why there isn't as much fighting in today's league. When one of the best players in the game is, I think he's echoing a lot of the sentiments of other NBA players as well, is that this shit is just not that deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, NBA fans want to romanticize these rivalries and make, I think it is deeper for, like, it's crazy, but I do think the NBA, in a very weird way, is deeper to the NBA fans than the actual players itself. Now, maybe in yesteryear it was different, but now these motherfuckers don't care. They turn off their phones. They live in $200 million mansions, and they go on about their life. Cause who the fuck cares what you think? But I don't think that was the case in the 90s for role players. I don't think that was the case in the 80s and even in the 2000s for role players. You know what I'm saying? I do think there were more people that were playing the game for the love of the game instead of just a career path for them. I think that's why, to be honest with you, NCAA women's basketball and the WNBA, I think you see more characters, more players that care about the product than in the NBA, to be honest with you. Because of the fact that there is not much money, because of the fact that they are trying to get to this level of money that they don't have access to right now. They got to fight tooth and nail. They got to put in more effort to get to where they want to be. But if the WNBA does get to that point where they're making lucrative amounts of money, I do think you will also see less rivalries in the WNBA.
Yourself as an agitator at all?
Agitator. Competitor. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the shit talking is part of what... The shit talking is part of what makes you get in the mode, get in the mindset. It's not to agitate. It's like, essentially, it's a selfish thing. It's for you.
100%. Like that's how I grew up, though, and everything. I had an older brother. I have a dad that's the same exact way. So it's always been competition from NBA Live before NBA 2K. We were talking shit on there. So, but believe it or not, I usually don't start it, but all I need to do is hear like any little thing, and well,
that's what sick fucks do.
Yeah,
that's what sick fucks do.
Part of what we were talking about, the motivation of.
Yeah, you got to constantly look for it.
Yeah,
you got to look for it.
Yeah. Another thing I took away from that, man, to be great, you gotta be obsessive about the shit too. And I think not everyone is ready. Not everyone has to be obsessive about shit too, but there's a level of greatness where you have to have some sort of delusion to you to reach a certain level of greatness. And if you don't have that delusion, you will not be that great. I'm telling you right now. Every single great in whatever field you think of, they were hyper obsessed with the thing that they were doing, and that's why they got to that point. If you're not hyper obsessed about the thing that you're doing, if you're not passionate about the thing that you're doing, your potential is going to be capped off. I think depending on the field, that cap might still be high. That cap might still be good enough for you to make a living, create generational wealth in the case of NBA players, right? But yeah, to be great, you gotta be obsessed. You gotta be obsessed. Shout out to D-Book. Shout out to JJ Redick for the clip. Let me know what y'all think about the things that I talked about in today's video. Is money ruining rivalries? That being said, I'll catch y'all on the next one, and I'm out of here, man. Bye.